DeanO and CPA is our guest on this segment of Home Experts, taking your questions regarding taxes and tax-related items. Numbers right down here on your screen. Give us a call at 1-888-208-6946. And have a lot of different things we can talk about here, Dean. But first of all, let's talk about any new tax changes that we need to be aware of over the last few weeks.
Not necessarily the last few weeks. We're still trying to sort out what was all in the last stimulus bill, but each one of these stimulus bills have been a significant tax event. So this year we've got a new employer retention credit small business owners need to know about. That could potentially put up to $7,000 per quarter for each one of your employees in your pocket in the form of reduced withholdings taxes. So really big numbers out here. There's, of course, the stimulus is talking about the unemployment that's not being taxable. That's a good thing for if you already did your tax return and didn't get, and that was taxed. The IRS says they're going to fix that. Starting in June, families with children, most of them will start getting a check every month depending on how many children and their ages. So lots of different moving parts right now. The CPA world, I think the only place more difficult to work is probably in the tax software development world right now.
Things change quite often. Yeah. For those of you that are retirees or you're thinking about retiring, Dean, I know there are some questions that they should ask and answer, and what are some of those?
The big one is how are you going to set up an income plan, and that's going to drive into how much your taxes are going to be. We have certain breakpoints that we want to get to and do Roth conversions every year to make sure that we're getting our money out of the 401k and the IRA type programs at the lowest tax rates. One of the things we see, the big mistake we see retirees make is they don't do these Roth conversions every year, and the account just stays very large, and by the time they're 72 and they have to start making withdrawals, they're so large that it automatically throws them into the higher tax bracket, which means they're going to pay higher lifetime taxes, or potentially their kids when they inherit that money. But if they were doing those Roth rollovers and conversions systematically, they would really lower their lifetime tax liability. So the retirees need to be thinking about not just how do I get my taxes lower this year, how do I get them lower for the rest of my life? And it's not a one-shot thing. It's an ongoing process that we have to go through.
In a typical tax year, I understand that you have to be 59 and a half to start taking withdrawals from your 401k. Can you start doing that Roth conversion before 59 and a half without penalty, or do you have to wait until 59 and a half?
No, you can do that at any time. There is no age limit on those, and the reason there's no penalty is because you don't have any spendable cash. It just goes from your IRA or 401k account over into a Roth account, so you don't have any spendable cash there. So no tax, there is income tax on it, but there's no penalty on it. So the age 59 stuff doesn't apply when we talk Roth conversions.
Does the amount of tax you pay depend upon the amount you're transferring?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because when those dollars went in to the IRA or the 401k, they were not taxed in almost all cases. So you're getting a tax break today. So that means you're going to pay taxes later. And if you're in a lower tax bracket, under about $106,000 for a married couple, you probably don't want to be putting money in the 401k. You want to be putting it into the 401k with a Roth option. Go ahead and pay that 12% now. When you draw that money out of the Roth, it's tax-free. Really nice setup there. But if you're over that, now you're in the 22% bracket. And you're in the 22% bracket, we generally say you need to stay with the traditional 401k or workplace retirement plan and get those tax bracket write-offs today, and then later down the road you'll probably be in a lower tax bracket when you pull the money out.
Got about a minute left on our segment today, and let's talk about deadlines. At last I checked, some of those tax filing deadlines had been extended. What are we talking about right now?
Right now, May 17th is a deadline for payments, for filing, for everything else. Now, last week, April 15th was the day for estimated tax payments. So kind of backwards and kind of unintended consequences of pushing a bill through Congress too quickly, because they didn't change the estimated tax deadline to the income tax deadline. So that means we don't know, if you haven't filed taxes year, you don't know what your estimated taxes are supposed to be. So we're making a lot of good faith guesses at that, and I think we'll probably find some relief on that. But right now, if you didn't make an estimated tax payment by the April 15th, you're in a penalty situation.
If you would like to find out more from DeanO, and he's got a number, you can give him a call at 270-554-0720.